In a luxury tower on Melbourne St Kilda Road, something goes horribly wrong. A door in the refuse room is stuck and won't open. The concierge leans into the glass, and the building's ordinary sounds fall away. On December 2nd, 2010, 24-year-old Phoebe Handsjuk is discovered at the bottom of the tower's garbage system. The official ruling will call it a tragic accident. Her family, and many who study the case, never agreed. "We're going to slow down. We'll walk the day, the machine, the investigation, and the hard space between possible and likely. My name is Mark, and I cover difficult stories with care. No jump scares, no graphic photos, just facts, context, and empathy for the people living with the aftermath. If that approach earns your trust, please consider subscribing at the end." So, who was Phoebe Handsjuk? Before diagrams and legal language, a person. Friends describe her as bright, creative, magnetic, the kind of 20-something who could turn an ordinary evening into an orbit of plans. She was also human, juggling love, work, friendships, mental health, and the pressure to look fine while still figuring things out. In other words, like many of us at 24. We aren't here to romanticize or to scandalize. We're here to understand a day, the decision the system made about that day, and the questions that won't lie still. High-rises have their own weather. Recycled air, carpet hush, lift doors talking to themselves. Each floor has a small room with a hatch that opens to a steel chute. The chute runs down to a ground-level room where rubbish is directed into a compactor and then into bins. This system is built for bags, not bodies. Understanding that mechanism, what it does and doesn't do, is essential to everything that follows. It's early evening on Thursday, December 2nd. Downstairs, a staff member notices the refuse room door won't open. There's a weight against it. Help is called. When the door finally swings inward, they find Phoebe on the floor. She appears to have come down the chute feet first and sustained catastrophic injuries. Emergency services arrive. The scene is confronting. Nothing more can be done. In the hours that follow, police consider suicide as a working theory. That will change. An inquest will ultimately rule the death accidental. Let's slow the frame and look at why. The coroner's conclusion hinges on 3 pillars. 1. Injury pattern. The fall alone did not present the catastrophic head and torso injuries you'd expect from a long head-first drop. The finding, feet-first entry, descent through the chute, then a catastrophic leg injury interacting with the compactor and bin area. The cause of death was blood loss. 2. Toxicology. Phoebe's blood alcohol level was about twice the legal driving limit. The sleep medication zolpidem, often known as Stilnox, was present, along with an antidepressant. The coroner described a picture of impairment, disinhibition, confusion, and the possibility of complex but unsound behaviors. 3. Third-party involvement. The official ruling explicitly found none. No person has ever been charged. The headline then, accidental death, blood loss after a catastrophic leg injury in the refuse machinery in the context of alcohol and zolpidem. If you know this case, you might know it from extensive reporting and a hit podcast, Phoebe's Fall. Their work and the family's advocacy asked sharp questions. 1. Did early assumptions narrow the investigation too quickly? 2. Were all available CCTV sources identified and secured fast enough? 3. Given the unusual mechanism, should the coroner have returned an open finding, neither accident, suicide, nor homicide? These aren't proofs, they're stress tests. Ways to see whether the official story holds when you push on it from every side. Under that pressure, one big thing did change. Not the verdict, but the process. Public scrutiny helped trigger a review of coronial appeal rights in Victoria. In 2018, reforms expanded the ability to challenge a finding believed to be against the weight of evidence. That matters because process shapes trust. But here's the line in ink. Those reforms did not alter the official conclusion in Phoebe's case. Legally, it remains accidental death. The discussion often reduces to one practical question. Could an impaired person acting alone get into a chute like this feet first? The coroner believed yes. Zolpidem is associated, in a small number of users, with complex, disoriented behaviors. Add alcohol and risk multiplies. The hatch is elevated. The opening isn't generous. It requires coordination, but possible and likely are different words, and in that gap lives much of the debate. Skeptics point to the hatch height and awkward mechanics. Supporters of the finding point to the injury pattern and absence of reliable evidence of a second person. Two truths can sit together. The act is unusual, the injuries are consistent with a feet-first descent and survival long enough to escape in the bin area. Let's weigh the three narratives people return to, neutrally. A. Accident. Impairment leads to disinhibited, complex behavior. Phoebe enters the chute feet first, perhaps intending to climb down, perhaps not fully aware of the risk. The injury pattern and the coroner's ruling align here. What it asks of us is to accept a rare behavior produced by a specific mix of alcohol and medication. B. Suicide. An early police hypothesis later rejected by the coroner. The method is atypical. Evidence in the room below reads more like survival effort than staging. What it asks of us is to assume a deliberate choice of a highly unusual method despite countersignals. And C. Foul play. The Internet's most popular option because it explains oddness with a human agent. But allegations aren't evidence. The coroner found no third-party involvement, and no one has been charged. What it asks of us is to overturn the official conclusion without the physical proof that responsibility demands. There is a fourth comfort some prefer in strange cases: the open finding, an honest admission that the evidence doesn't cleanly fit any box. But in this case, the box chosen, rightly or wrongly, is accident. What about the people left behind? Cases like this don't end when news cycles move on. Families carry them. Phoebe's loved ones pushed for answers and a wider look. Reporters kept asking hard questions. Lawyers argued about evidence and power and the right to challenge a story that doesn't sit right with you. If you feel torn listening to this, good. That's a proper human response to a story with sharp edges. So, what can we learn from this story? 3 takeaways that reach beyond one tragedy. 1. Early narratives echo. The first frame around an event is stubborn. Build them slowly. 2. Rare isn't impossible. Industrial systems like chutes and compactors are unforgiving. The ways people and machines interact can be stranger than fiction. 3. Empathy is non-negotiable. Behind every headline are parents, partners, and friends who didn't ask to be in a public argument. As of today, the official record still says, accidental death, blood loss after a catastrophic leg injury in the refuse machinery, in the context of alcohol and zolpidem. There is no finding of homicide. No person has ever been charged over Phoebe's death. Public opinion is stubbornly divided, and the family still hopes for clarity. 2 truths can stand side by side: an official conclusion and the ache of unanswered questions. If you have credible, first-hand information, please contact Victorian authorities in Australia through proper channels. Phoebe Handsjuk was just 24. May she rest in peace. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like the video and to subscribe for more episodes diving into the darker corners of crime history. So, until next time, stay safe and stay curious.